this is an awesome racket.
Hi, I'm Aaron. I normally play with the pro staff, and today I'm trying out the new blade. First impressions are, it looks unreal. They've gone for like an army sort of vibe. I'd say contact down below the hip, really nice. It's quite stiff. There's carbon now in the handle. Above the shoulder, it's a little bit more flexible than I'm used to. But yeah, it's actually quite a nice contact. Feels fresh.
So also we've strung it up with Eco Power today. So this is Luxolon Eco Power. It's a hexagonal string, so it is shaped, but it's made out of completely recycled materials. It actually works really nicely in the blade, as you can see here. So Aaron's, like, as you can see in the footage, he's such a clean hitter, hits an amazingly clean ball. One thing, he's used to a 315 gram pro staff, right? What version is it? V13. V13. Yeah. So the 97 V13, the 315 gram. So obviously a little bit more maneuverability with the frame. We've got it completely stock here today for you, just with obviously Luxolon Eco Power at 54. So we're going to get Aaron to hit a little bit more, get to feel the racket, and give his overall impressions for you in a little bit. So it's interesting, as you see Aaron hitting now, we've obviously got a nice weight of shot with him, boys. Hitting against a really good player, Luke Sinkis, who was top college player in the States, was obviously British born. Just really, really smooth. You look at these guys hitting and you think the racket's doing wonders for them, but their technique is so good. They could make any racket look good, really. But what will be interesting is Aaron gonna lose any stability compared to his pro staff? Obviously the drop down in weight, or will he enjoy that extra maneuverability and a little bit more spin I think he's gonna get with the blade because of that maneuverability. Also, the big thing about the Blade V8, which Aaron's used before to the V9, is this slightly stiffer frame. So they have stiffened up the frame, which is going to give a little bit more stability. Oh. So you're obviously hitting with Luke there, who hits a big heavy ball.
Yeah.
How are you finding that kind of torsional stability? How does the racket feel in the hand?
Yeah, it is very stable, and I can feel that on the slice. I can actually stay with the ball a lot more. I would say maybe it's a little bit light for me, especially when Luke hits a bit heavier and getting a bit jammed up. So, I mean, when I'm balanced, it's great. So I think a little bit more weight when I'm in defense might really help out.
Yeah, so this is obviously 305 grams stock. What would you normally, would you weigh it up to similar to
yeah,
a pro
I
stock?
would probably weigh it up to about 315 and keep it pretty balanced.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm quite smooth when I play, and I don't really necessarily need more power. I just need balance when I'm on the shot.
Yeah. So obviously the downside of going down in weight is that lack of stability that you're going to have. What are you finding in terms of when you've gone to the 305? How is it different than a pro staff? What's the benefits of going for a blade versus a pro staff?
I'd say the pro staff gives you that sort of rigidity when you play. I feel controlled in most scenarios. Even if I'm defending, I'm able to like flick an angle. I think here it's more, I've got to be in control of my body to play the shot I want.
Yeah.
And it rewards you when you do that. I think when I'm defending a little bit, it doesn't help you out as much as I'd like.
Yeah, so talk us through forehands then, in terms of like ripping a few forehands then.
Yeah,
Are you finding it a little bit more maneuverable? Are you finding it extra spin that comes with that? What are you finding in terms of
I'd say actually, when I hit the ball flatter, I get more from the racket. When I'm ripping it, I find it difficult to stay on the ball as much as I want to.
Yeah.
But then again, when you do connect with it, when you rip straight through it, it's a great shot. It really is.
And then on the backhand then, how are you finding it on the slice and the one-hander?
Yeah, I mean the slice, I say I've got a pretty solid slice anyway, but this really helps me stay with the ball. I get like quite a nice knife action. I'm able to play, you know, the chip, the float, do anything on the slice. On the backhand, similar sort of thing to the forehand. It's got a lot of reward down at hip height. Above the shoulder, not so much, but again, I would look to be weighting this up.
Is that because you find it slightly whippier than the pro stuff?
Yeah, I mean, blades traditionally are a little bit more flexible. They've done really well actually in enhancing the stability and control. Can definitely feel that. But yeah, I would definitely be weighting this up similar to sort of the pro staff weight 315.
So then talk us through what sort of player does this suit? What do you think of when you think of a blade, and especially this V9 model? What kind of player would you give it to?
I would think an aggressive baseliner, somebody strong off the ground strokes. Yeah, looking to come in, but not as much as somebody using a pro staff. I think Goffin is the perfect player for this racket, and I mean he uses it anyway. So yeah.
A bit of an all-rounder.
Yeah.
In terms of then like skill level as well, what do you think in terms of, could an intermediate pick it up, or is it really just an advanced level racket?
No, this is definitely, anyone can use this racket. I mean, yeah, the head size is a little bit smaller than a pure drive or whatever, but ultimately it helps you out a little bit, and it gives you that extra oomph behind the ball.
What would you say the racket kind of stands for? What is the key benefits of a blade than this one?
I'd say easy power, and it sort of is a cross between the Burn and the Pro Staff. Sort of complements both of them into one. So yeah, you get easy power, but you also get the added control.
Yeah. Have you hit any volleys with it?
No, not yet.
As you can see, these guys are really good technical players. But what are they looking for when they're volleying? They're looking for a racket that provides manoeuvrability and stability, so they can punch away those volleys. That's something that the Blade V9 does better than the V8, because it is that little bit more stable, it's stiffer, so it translates to more power and more stability on the volleys. You may be losing a little bit of flex, a little bit of feel, but I would argue that's not really what the Blade's about, so I think they've done a great job here.
Hi, well, first impressions are pretty good. I used this in college for 4.5 years, and then before for 3 years, so I really like it. It's a bit stiffer, which is good, because the other ones were a bit flimsy, in my opinion. So the ball was flying a bit more, had to put more weight in the head for more stability. But honestly, this is probably an improvement on at least the last one. The one before that I really like, so I haven't played with it long enough to know, but feels really good.
So this V9 then, talk about, what's your immediate feeling? You've used the V7, the V8.
Yeah.
Ground strokes, kind of grooving it in, obviously Aaron's hitting a great ball to you.
Yeah.
What is your first impressions in terms of how it's feeling in the hand?
Very stable, honestly, and whippy. We were talking about this earlier, about there's a whippiness to the Blade rackets, and yeah, I think generally first impressions are really good.
How is this feeling comparatively to the others?
Slightly more spin and trajectory on the ball, so the elevation is a little higher off the contact, which probably makes it a bit whippier than the 1820. The 1820 has a slightly lower flight path.
And talk us through, what sort of game style would you say you have?
When I'm playing well, it's pretty aggressive, so serve, forehand, intense.
Big 1-2s and things like that?
Exactly, and good intensity. When I'm not playing as well, it sort of comes more, standard tennis playing, so back of the court, rallying and trying to find an opening. But yeah, when I'm playing my best, it's definitely aggressive. This is, for a more aggressive player, this is a awesome racket, because you're going to get that control, that the 98 square inch head. But I think it's generally probably the most used racket on the tour anyway, the Blade, so shows you how good of a racket it really is.
How do you feel pulling the trigger at the moment? You talked about big first strike tennis. How is it pulling the trigger on this
Pretty
one?
confident. I think, well, I've hit with a lot of different rackets in the past year or two, and generally this is right up there with, for me and how I play. Like, I trust this racket. That ball is gonna go where I want it to go, playing aggressively. And actually a lot of players on the tour would probably say the same. That's kind of why they're using this frame is because they trust it.
As you can see, Luke is a real top player. The Percet 97D is obviously a really nice following racket, very solid, stable at 320. This blade, however, he remarked that it was very, very easy to volley with. He's knocking off volleys for fun. It is super stable for that 305 gram weight, and I think he would let it up a little bit more, just at 3 and 9, to make sure it's more stable on serve and volleys. Talk to us then, Aaron. How's it feeling on the serve? Your serve, its motion is very nice, I have to say. How's it feeling on the serve? You mentioned there was realms of 118 in terms of the pro stuff.
Probably not reaching that here with this one. But yeah, I get a lot of pop off it. I'm just looking down there on the back fence, just jumping like halfway up. Really, really nice. I haven't hit any slices yet, but that tee serve is, who needs one?
Yeah,
that tee serve.
If you're hitting aces all the time on the tee, you don't need one. You don't need one. In terms of hitting your spots then, what is a major thing when you're looking on the serve? What do you want from a racket in terms of the serve?
To be honest, I just want stability when I'm making contact. I feel like I generate a lot of the power myself. Got a quick arm, pretty explosive. So really all I'm looking for is sweet contact and stability. I don't want to see any sort of shaking when I'm hitting the ball, and I think this really provides that.
In terms of then, you mentioned stability is important. Is there a cut-off as you go up on the weight of the serve? So say a 340 pro stuff, are you enjoying that more on the serve, or is there a cut-off in terms of weight for you?
Yeah, so I actually used the 340 a couple of years ago, and I got a lot of success on hitting ground strokes, serves, returns, you name it, but I had no defending game. And I think there is a balance, and I think the blade and the medium 315 pro staff both do that for you.
Is that manoeuvrability coming round the ball on the slice?
Oh yeah, I guess a lot of the with less weight, I can attack the ball on the side more. You can see that I'm cutting the ball when it's going into the side netting, which is exactly what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah,
nice.
Really good.
So stepping up on the court, right, when you're hitting that slider, are you using that as a 1-2 combination, take them onto court? Are you coming in, or are you just backing up with a big ground stroke for the next one?
Not necessarily. I think, especially with a racket like this, I'd be looking to go one space, get them on the run, and then maybe look to come in. If not, then I'd be in a situation where I'm like 70-30 up and I'm looking to build.
Yeah.
I wouldn't really want to rush the point with a racket like this. It's so good from the back that there's no real rush to get into the net.
Yeah, you feel comfortable.
Yeah.
So in terms of what sort of player this suits then, if you hit a serve, what are you thinking? You've got Luke on the other hand that's talking about first strike tennis, super aggressive baseliner.
Yeah.
You're talking, you feel a little bit more comfortable to make the points a little bit longer maybe, is that what you're saying in terms of how you feel? Or?
Yeah, I guess I agree with the aggressive baseliner. It's definitely a racket that suits them, but I wouldn't be looking to rush the point, shortening it. I feel like, especially on the clay, the stability gives you confidence in the longer rallies.
Oi, oi, oi. Oh.
So best serve you got, is that the tee, flat?
Probably. I like the flat serve more at the moment, but you know, it changes. Like some days you'll be confident on the wide one more. But yeah, probably right now it's probably the flat 1T and the flat wide. But I think that's most players' preference in general.
Yeah. So in terms of this then, talk about the racket in terms of the serve. How is it comparing, generating pace on the flat down the tee compared to your percept?
Probably get more out of this, honestly.
Really? Yeah.
You probably get more out, just because you've got, it's slightly more, like generally the frame's more powerful. It's 16-19, mine's 18-20.
Yeah.
So you're going to get more reward from a 16-19 racket, I think.
In terms of pace then, you're talking about that 130, what was it, I don't want to undersell you.
138,
138
maximum I've ever hit.
Yeah. What do you think you're hitting with that?
Probably just then, 120s, probably.
And is that because you're loosening up, or is that because that's taking pace off?
No, that's my average.
Yeah.
So generally I'm, you know, if I'm feeling really good, confident, loose, yeah, it's going to be 120s average. This is not taking anything away from my serve. It's probably adding. If I was to get this racket, I'd customize it how I'd always customized it. I'd put quite a lot of lead on the sides for the stability that I want, but I know a lot of players that use this stock. So just like this, and it's a really good racket just like this, honestly.
So what we'll do is get you playing some points against Aaron. We've done your serving, done a bit of volleying, done some from the back. Now's a real test. Is this racket something he can use under point pressure situation? That's the real test, guys.
We'll see.
Right. Oh! Huge point.
I know.
Oh, how are you feeling? He's serving bombs up there.
Yeah, well, he's been doing that the last week, so I'm kind of used to it.
Yeah, I reckon you got him.
I've got to try and get some of my own back.
Yeah, let's get him, let's get him.
Here we go.
Oh.
Okay, fair enough.
How'd you like that own back?
Yeah, that was nice. Straight away as well, I'll take it.
He was a little bit confident after just knocking down an ace, and you just bang that back to him.
Let's do another.
You know how to break a man, come on.
Yeah.
Oh,
yes.
Luke.
2 in a row.
It's silly, it's silly good, it's silly good.
Ah, good serve. So that one was too big.
That's meaty.
Yeah. Yeah, that had some weight behind it.
Oh, it's huge.
It's nice.
The weight of that forehand.
Thank you.
So we've got a new system with All Things Tennis in how well the players get on with the rackets. Would they potentially swap to the racket for all their tournaments? Would they consider it with some adjustments, you know, maybe a different string setup? Or is it a hard avoid? We always try and profile the players that might fit this racket. And here we have the results for the blade. So Aaron is in the consider category. He liked the racket, obviously a pro staff user, it's not a million miles away from that, but he did miss the stability and plow through he'd get with his 315 pro staff. If he was going to use a blade, which he considers, he would have to add a little bit more weight to the racket. Okay, and we come to Luke's. Luke is a swap. So interestingly, he was very much in love with his perceps, but bringing back the blade, something he got on really well with in college. He's swapping to it, and he's going to add some weight at 3 and 9 just to bring it up ever so slightly. So there you have it. Luke will be using this racket ongoing in all his tournaments, wielding the new Wilson Blade V9. Thanks for watching to the end of the video. Please like and subscribe to the channel so we can help support more brilliant athletes like these two today.